Hi, welcome to Physics. I'm Mr. Barsley and I teach A-level physics along with Mr. Whitaker. Most of you know us already. If you're watching this video, then you're thinking about choosing A-level physics next year. This video will help you decide whether A-level physics is the right choice for you. Shortly I'll talk you through the course in some detail. First though, let's go and talk to some students, see what they've got to say about physics. Hi guys, how are you getting on? Adam, why did you choose A-level physics?
I chose physics because I really enjoyed it last year and wanted to expand on the knowledge from GCSE.
Thanks Adam. Matt, what's been your favourite aspect of the course so far?
I've liked lots of the second year content such as stars and cosmology, and especially the photoelectric effect, seeing as how certain materials appear certain colours.
Thanks a lot, Matt. Charlie, some people find A-level physics quite challenging. What would you say are the most challenging aspects to the course?
Personally, I'd say waves are one of the most challenging aspects in the path difference and idea of coherence. I think a lot of it's actually quite challenging for me, but I quite enjoy having the challenge.
Charlie, you haven't taken A-level maths. Has this been an issue for you?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's an issue. It has been challenging because maths is a big part of physics and you do need to know your basics. However, Mr. Bartley and Mr. Whitaker have really helped me by holding extra sessions for the mathsy bits of physics, and it's really helped. It was really enjoyable.
Thanks a lot, Charlie. Naomi, what are you planning to go on to do next?
I'm planning on doing a physics degree at either the University of Exeter or Bath, just because I find it really interesting. Something I want to pursue.
Thanks very much, guys. Okay, before we get into the nuts and bolts of the course, I've just put a few questions up there. These are the sorts of questions that you should be interested in the answers to if you're thinking about taking A-level physics. And these are the sorts of questions that you will get answered throughout the physics course. Of course, you might know the answers to some of them already. Ordinarily on the transition evening, prospective students ask me questions like this. We've just heard from the Year 13s then that the physics course is quite challenging. But what we say is that if you achieve level 6 at physics, or level 6 at combined science and level 6 in maths, then you've definitely got the ability to cope with the demands of A-level physics. It's more to do with how much you enjoy the subject and how hard you're prepared to try. For sure, A-level maths is a benefit, and most physics students take maths at the same time. After all, it's been said in the past that mathematics is the language of physics. But like Charlie said, it doesn't mean that you can't do well, and we can help you put some support in place if your maths isn't so strong, or if you just happen not to choose A-level maths. And I've already covered the top one. The sorts of reasons why you maybe will pick physics at Haven. So a quick look through those. Like I mentioned already, you've got to be enjoying physics. You've got to have a thirst for physics knowledge, for explaining the world around you if you're going to do well in physics. Some of the important ones, link between theory and experiment. We do lots of practical work. I'd have said about a third of your time is going to be spent doing practicals. This is just, I'm not sure if you can see this on your screen, but a little bit's been blotted out there. Typically groups of 10 or less, so it's very individual study, very personalised, and that's important if you're going to, some of you might be considering going on to places like Callywith. You'll probably find you'll be in a much bigger group than that. So, the course. There we are, 6 modules over the 2 years. The practical skills permeates the entire course, so do practical all the way through. Module 2 is there to kind of bridge the gap between GCSE and A-level, so it's some of the foundations that you'll be using right the way through the course are introduced there. It's quite a short module. Modules 3 and 4 largely based on the work that you did in Key Stage 4, but there's some new stuff put in there as well. For instance, there's a lot of work on waves and stuff on waves that you won't have come across before. But where it really gets interesting is in Year 13, and our students generally get the biggest kick out of Modules 5 and Module 6, because that's all the interesting physics. Those are the reasons why they've taken physics in the first place. And I guess you could say the modules up to there are all part of setting the foundations, giving you the skills and the capabilities to handle modules 5 and 6. We've set up a Google Classroom, which you'll find really useful to help you with your studies, whether you're at school in study periods or if you're at home. And you'll find in there all sorts of resources like the PowerPoints that we use in lessons. You'll find worksheets and support sheets, practice questions and past paper questions. Basically, everything that you'll need to support you with your learning, you'll find on the Google Classroom or your physics textbook. Now, unfortunately, this didn't happen this year, but we're hoping that next year we'll take the A-level physicists out on a field trip, go and find a nice dark beach somewhere and spend a couple of evenings gazing at the stars. At the end of the course, of course, you'll have to do an examination. You get 3 written exams. You'll see that the practical skills is examined on the written papers, on all 3 of the papers. The third exam is the one generally people find more challenging. It covers the whole of the course and the questions are synoptic, but really good questions. And now, as well as your practical work being assessed on the exam, you also will be given what's called a practical endorsement at the end of the course, as long as you have met certain competency in a range of practical skills. So throughout the course, you'll keep a record of your practical work in your lab book, and that will be assessed by us, and then hopefully you'll pass that and you'll get the practical endorsement. So that's reported separately on your certificate. Now, if you're thinking about going on to do science or engineering at university, the universities are going to want to see that practical endorsement's there. Also, if you're applying to one of the top universities, they're going to be looking for that practical endorsement as well. These are the sorts of courses that our physics students go on to study. Lots of engineers and maths, but also sciences. This year it was terrific to see 3 of our students go on to do physics at university, and as Naomi just mentioned, she's applying to do physics next year as well. But it opens the door for all sorts of courses. Some of you maybe won't go on to university, but will choose to get a job instead. If you've got a good A-level physics on your CV, that's going to go a long way with any employer. This is the bit where I normally ask for questions from the audience, but I can't do that terribly easily, sat here in the spare room. So if there's anything else that we haven't covered, please just come along and find us when we're back in school. That's myself or Mr. Whittaker or Mr. Turner. He knows what's going on as well. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope it's been useful. There's exciting times ahead, and I'll hopefully see lots of you in September.